Hey team, I'm drawing downstairs this week because it's raining outside and I've got the house to myself, so why not? This week is probably the most technical thing that we've done so far. Not only are we pushing our light shading even further, but the drawing element is much more challenging. So, try not to give in. Try not to get frustrated and then throw it away. Get frustrated by all means, because it's the nature of the beast, right? Things aren't always perfect and we always want to be perfect. But I want you to try and get through it. See what happens and see if you can draw this white rose in a light shade. So grab your pencils and let's begin. So before we begin, what we want to do is simplify the shape. It's at a bit of an angle, so I just want you to draw this shape, and then you can either curve the bottom or finish off that weird pyramid thing. This is probably the most crucial part of the drawing because you do really want it to look like a flower head, don't you? You don't want it to look, I don't know, what else could it look like? It could just look off. So spend a bit of time on your outline, and once you've got your pyramid or your initial shape, carve in the edges. Look at the curves, look at the shapes, and fill those in. After that, you're going to use your 2B just to gently shade over the grey areas. So you want to leave the white bits as white as you can, and you want to just add the average shade. So if you think something's a little bit darker, shade that in. If you think something's a little bit lighter, leave it alone. Yes, leave it alone. The main thing about this drawing is the edges. So it's really fine. This drawing is very fine detail. And your edges could be a very small gradient, or it could be a harsh edge. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take each petal and I'm just going to try and pull out some of the details. So just go one at a time, thinking about those larger shapes that maybe go around the petal. And then you can see these like veins, or I don't know, it's like when you iron your trousers. What are those things called? The lines down the front of your trousers. I don't know. I don't iron anymore. So kind of out of touch. But you're just basically rehearsing it a little bit. You're wanting to add it on, and it should start to look a little bit 3D. So the main thing is just trying to get all of these small soft gradients. Once you're ready, you're going to switch to your 2H pencil. So your 2H is for refining, and this is going to just maybe make your subtle changes in shade a little bit stronger. Maybe it's going to pull the line a little bit darker. But you should really spend your time on your 2H, probably the most on this drawing, just because there is a fair bit of fine detail. And the one thing I don't want you to do is to push things too dark. But on this drawing, we're going to add that dark background again, and we'll do that in just a second. So it might change. Everything might look way too light, and that's kind of what I want us to go through in these drawings. I want us to see what it's like to shade light, and then what happens when you shade dark around it. It's very interesting, and often I'm like, I should have known it's darker, and I don't go darker, and then I'm like, now I've got to go over it all over again. Anyway, your flower, or the flower in general, I find it quite a difficult drawing. It's a bit like a face, I guess, because everything just lives in the middle of nowhere. There's no reference points, there's no straight lines, there's no corners, there's just this like weird bend in the leaf in the middle. So it's going to take more than 4 minutes, which is what this video is. It's going to take a little bit of time. But actually, now that the video is moving on and the background's on there, can you see the big change in how adding something really dark changes the grey that you've got on there already? So you might decide to go over your drawing again, see if you can push the light bits a little bit darker. And also just spend a bit of time in the background as well, because it's too easy to rush it and just make it look a bit naff. You've done all that work, why leave something looking a bit ugh? So spend the time at the end of your drawing just refining it and making things a little bit clearer and a little bit smoother. This is probably one of our most technical drawings to date, so do spend time in it, and I do hope you enjoy it. I mean, I hope you enjoy all of them, but I think this is a cool one to do. So have fun with it. Keep pushing, don't be shy, and just see what happens. Try and get through it in one take. Try not to throw it away, and be proud of what you've done. And finally, if you like this page and you want to support me, head on over to Patreon and just pledge £3 a month to buy me a coffee. All right, folks, I'll see you next week for another lesson.